Internet, hello, welcome to Coy Cubed. We are approaching the middle of December, and as that approaches, there will be a quieter phase of news, and then next year is going to be chaos. But before we get there, there's a lot of stuff that just broke before everyone takes some time off for the holidays, and I can't believe some of it. Basically, last week, right after we talked about Wonder Woman going to HBO Max, everything was announced to be going to HBO Max. So the news, only a few days old, feels much older because it's quite the zeitgeist shift in news. I can't fully believe it's happening, and it's going to change everything ever. So we'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about Doc Ock, Alfred Molina himself being in Spider-Man 3, which is going to change everything in the Sony and Marvel universe, and we're going to talk about a potential video game zeitgeist shift with Oscar Isaac. So there's not a ton of news, but the news there is giant. So I want to get into that with y'all today. What an insane series of events that's happened this week. Let's just dive in. Let's get into it. First of all, let's talk about Dr. Octopus Alfred Molina being in Spider-Man 3. This was kind of the crapshoot, hopes and dreams, will it possibly ever happen moment that we all thought since Jamie Foxx was rumored with some seeming evidence to be in Spider-Man 3. Immediately we leapt from, if Electro's here, then we want Tobey and Andrew Garfield, and we want Spider-Verse, and if you remember my video from around that time, I thought this also meant an interdimensional Sinister Six. So my theory of what's going to happen is they're going to combine the Sinister Six concept with the Spider-Verse concept, and the Spider-Man 3 movie is going to lead potentially to a Sinister Six movie. Now, I've got a bunch of crazy tinfoil hat theories about Michael Keaton. I've got some insanity about what the ramifications of this multiverse are for the rest of the MCU, what it means for even potentially Deadpool and other things. But I do think that this is a very clear indicator. We are getting a Spider-Verse. I think it's all but understood we're getting Tobey and Andrew Garfield. I think it's a really tricky thing for the studio, because if you film anything outdoors and you see someone as iconic as Jamie Foxx or Alfred Molina, you want to get ahead of that with press. You want to announce it. So even though the announcement isn't official, it's pretty official coming out of reputable sources today. And Jamie Foxx is doing press for another film, basically saying he can't comment on the Electro stuff, but it seems about as definitive as it gets, which means if we have Doc Ock and they aren't able to secure Tobey Maguire, that's going to inherently disappoint people. If we have Electro and they don't give Andrew Garfield a deserving Spider-Man movie, that's going to disappoint people. I would love if Tobey and Andrew get proper send-offs. I would love if this does turn out to be something Spider-Verse-y. All of that said, I would like, after the Sinister Six movie, and I do think it's going to be its own movie, I think we're going to see Vulture basically recruiting Morbius, Scorpion, Doc Ock, Electro. You know, that's 5 right there. Is it going to be Mysterio with the 6th? Is it going to be Shocker? Is it going to be Venom? I don't know. The fact that we have 3 sets of movies, 3 with Tobey, 2 with Garfield, and enough villains from Tom Holland alone to fuel way more than a Sinister Six means they don't need to add new characters. But with the scene in the trailer for Morbius, having Vulture basically say, like, you're done playing for the good guys, and seemingly, you know, very intentionally for the audience that knows comic books, look like they're recruiting for a Sinister Six, I think that's hugely indicative of what's to come. We also know that Doc Strange is in this movie. We also know that the Doc Strange movie is called the Multiverse of Madness. We know that WandaVision is going to disrupt the multiverse. So we know a lot of things that lend credence to allowing for Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire to show up. So what I'm trying to get to is, after the inevitable theoretical Sinister Six movie, I would like, me personally, Coy, not speaking on behalf of Marvel, not speaking on behalf of comic book people, just me, I would love if we get a contained, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man movie. We conclude this trilogy, maybe even call it Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Maybe even allow for it to be a $100 million budget instead of $250. I loved that we had the Mysterio scene that we did in Spider-Man Far From Home. I loved the scope of what Homecoming was because it allowed for the Avengers and it made us feel like Spider-Man was part of the MCU. All of that's spectacular. But we haven't really had Spider-Man in New York being a kid yet. I was really looking forward to, Fox News trying to discredit Spider-Man through J. Jonah Jameson, that kind of flavor. I was looking forward to A Kraven's the Last Hunt, where it was more contained and it was a non-supernatural entity hunting Spider-Man through New York, and he had to rely on his wits and couldn't use a super suit. I was hoping for many smaller, more contained stories. The tricky thing about superhero movies is escalation. The tricky thing about sequels is escalation. The tricky thing about fan expectation is escalation. If you put all three of those escalating problems together, you're going to have where we're not going to be able to have anything but Avengers level events. I love the Avengers films, but I think it's really important we have Captain America, Iron Man, Thor films that lead up to them. I love that we had Phase 1 feel quaint compared to what we got with Phase 3. I think it's important to have the Logans and Deadpools most of all, because those feel so tonally different that it won't be, oh, superhero movies, and it feel like one universal thing. Now, Marvel's done a very good job. They've got their Guardians of the Galaxy that feels very different. You've got your Ant-Man that feels different. You've got your Winter Soldier that feels different. But going forward with escalation, the way we've seen even the announcement for Thor 4, the amount of cast members in Thor 4, it's an Avengers-like film. It's going to be like Civil War, where Thor 4, which is hard to say, Thor 4 is going to be an Avengers, 4.5 in so many ways. And I don't want everything to be leading up to Avengers 5. I think these characters deserve some of their own time, and especially Spider-Man, I don't want him to always be Iron Man Jr. So, my hope, giant Spider-Man 3, even bigger Sinister Six movie, and then a nice, quaint, at this point we're talking 5th movie for Tom Holland, but he signed on to a bunch, so I'd love that personally. I think he's going to show up in Morbius. I think he's going to show up in Venom 2. I think we're going to see a lot of Tom Holland as Spider-Man for quite some time, but I hope that at least in one of those circumstances we get a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. All of that said, Alfred Molina is one of the best things to happen to superhero movies of all time. Alfred Molina is the definitive Doc Ock for a series of reasons. Alfred Molina legitimized comic book movies for a lot of cinephiles and filmgoers for decades. When you talk about the best villain performances, Alfred Molina's name is on that list, deservedly so. So Alfred Molina coming back and being in Spider-Man 3 legitimizes this movie in a lot of ways, and I think he'd be great as perhaps a leader of the Sinister Six. What's obviously complicated is, spoiler alert from a movie from the early 2000s, Alfred Molina dies at the end of Spider-Man 2, a hero. Also tricky is, will he play that universe's Doc Ock? Will he play another universe's Doc Ock? We think Jamie Foxx is playing a different universe's Electro. Who knows? Because I think it'd be cool to see a more screen-accurate Electro. So I'm thinking Doc Ock is going to be a bit of the leader of the Sinister Six. I think we're going to have a really hard time juggling this many characters with screen time. That's why I think it's going to be building to a Sinister Six movie. I don't think we'll see the Sinister Six in Spider-Man 3. I think they'll be gathered, and I think they'll be assembled in the Sinister Six movie. But Alfred Molina in this is a dream come true. And like I opened this salvo of thought, I do think it's inevitable we hear about Tobey and Andrew Garfield. I think we're going to get Kirsten Dunst back. I think depending on Emma Stone's pregnancy, we'll get Gwen Stacy back, or, she died, so we might not. It's going to be really interesting. And I'm really excited for, again, Andrew Garfield to get some closure. So, personally, this is exciting news if it leads to eventually a Spider-Man movie that feels like a Spider-Man movie. But time will tell, and I am not a naysayer, so I'm excited for everyone. Like, I know MCU Spider-Man isn't everybody's cup of tea, but it's damn fun to have a good Spider-Man on the movie screen, so I'm always going to be excited about it. And I consider Far From Home a great time at the theater, and I consider Homecoming a great time at the theater, and I think all of the Spider-Men have different, like, if you look at an equalizer, like, they all have different highs and lows for what the comic books are, but that's the thing, they're not comic books. They're a different medium, they're in movies. So I think this MCU Spider-Man might just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Time will tell. Alfred Molina certainly lends credence to this being one of the biggest things ever and like Avengers in scope. So we'll see what happens after that. All right. Either way, Alfred Molina. Fuck yeah, this is exciting. Okay, now on for me personally, Coy, again, my show, Coy Cubed, my own place to bitch or hype. In this case, it's a negative for me. HBO Max announced right after the Wonder Woman announcement all of their 2021 slate was going to be going to HBO Max. So Warner Brothers had already had a giant 2021, and then the movies from 2020 shifted to 2021, giving Warner Brothers their biggest year ever. 17 giant films on the 12-month calendar year is insane. That's like putting out a movie every 5-6 weeks. What is that? 5 times 17 is way more than 52. That is an impossible amount. That's every 6 weeks. Getting a giant Warner Brothers movie was already going to be crazy. So now we're getting them on HBO Max. I understand the times. I understand it's not safe to go to the theater. I understand all of those things. What I don't understand is holding these movies for a year. I don't know why they couldn't. There's plenty of stuff that works for streaming. I think mid and low budget films, sure, but tentpoles, there's no sound system in the world that's going to feel like an IMAX theater. There's nothing that's going to make me feel like I saw Wonder Woman correctly the first time. And I can't wait a year. It's partly, excitement, but also the internet spoiler culture is not going to allow for that movie to go untalked about. For my job, I can't. Let's take away Wonder Woman. Let's go with In the Heights. In the Heights is something I'm really excited about. I would hear all about it before I got to see it if I waited till it was safe for theaters. But since it's being released, now HBO has gone from roughly 8 million subscribers to 12 million subscribers over the third quarter of the year. Those aren't numbers to scoff at, but if you're looking at a 4 million subscriber growth tied to this announcement and other things, that's not a lot of money. That's not even one of these movies' box office. 4 million is not a great amount of tickets sold. They're going to have to do insane numbers, and the town, LA, is already up in arms. Back-end deals that were not discussed. This wasn't a conversation that was had. It just happened. A lot of people found out their movie was going to be playing on HBO Max as the public did. It's a really gross situation. I personally hate it. I don't want to see Matrix 4 at home. Matrix 4, Suicide Squad, Dune, Wonder Woman 84, Mortal Kombat, In the Heights, Space Jam 2. Kong vs. Godzilla is literally made for the movie theater. Kong vs. Godzilla is a movie that's just meant to be big. It's not going to be an Oscar film. It's not going to be great dialogue. It's a spectacle. I want to see Godzilla 100 feet tall, and I want to see King Kong 100 feet tall fighting Godzilla 100 feet tall. I'm not going to see that on my 65-inch TV. That's not going to feel the same. So especially Kong vs. Godzilla, this is a bummer. It's gross for the filmmakers who put literally years of their lives into it. It's rough on the actors who put literally years of their lives into it. It's shitty for the agents who now have to deal with their clients that don't know what the fuck's going on. It's horrendous for the producers that can't get their money back. It's awful for the relationships that Warner Brothers once had with great talent. It's a fucking mess. I don't know how Warner Brothers recovers from a PR perspective. I don't know how Warner Brothers recovers from a litigation perspective. Legendary's already suing them. Legendary funded 75% of 2 of the giant films, Kong vs. Godzilla and another, I can't remember off the top of my head. 2 of those films were 75% Legendary funded, and they weren't consulted for this giant HBO Max drop. I get that streaming is the future. I get that streaming is important for the landscape of filmmaking, but the theatrical window is also really fucking important, and people getting paid for their work is really fucking important. And if an entire chunk of the industry goes under because of this lack of funds, that's forever fucked. And these movies aren't biopics. These are spectacles. These movies also aren't timely. Wonder Woman 84 is set in 1984. That could have come out in 2022. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense that they rushed this out. It's a real fucking mess. I hate it. And you know who else hates it? Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan came out with 2 very, very, very stinging quotes that I thought were interesting, saying, quote, "Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out they were working for the worst streaming service." So one, let's break that down. A lot of people have misquoted that. He's basically saying they're not a studio anymore, they're a streaming service. The jab there is the fact that it was a studio, now they're making content, not movies. They're making, things that are just going to be dumped online instead of pieces of art. I have nothing against streaming movies. I love a lot of the stuff. Amazon puts out some of the best things, period. I'm not insulting streaming. What I'm saying is if you make a movie and you engineer it for one thing, and then you don't get notified when that's never going to see the light of day for most eyeballs, that's really fucked. And he's saying similar in my interpretation of it. It's not a studio anymore. It's an outlet for HBO, and that's messy. Warner Brothers had an incredible machine for getting a filmmaker's work out to everywhere, both in theaters and the home, and they are dismantling it as we speak. They don't even understand what they're losing. Their decision makes no economic sense, and even the most casual Wall Street investor can see the difference between disruption and dysfunction. I completely agree. This isn't a cool, disruptive, let's change things. It's dysfunctional. There's no monetary way to solve this problem. There's no monetary solution that will rectify this loss. There's no way that these filmmakers are going to want to work with Warner Brothers again. There's no way any of this bodes well, and it's really a shame. I think Warner Brothers for decades has been historically one of my favorite studios. I think it's not just insult, it's also injury, you know? Like, the injury is the finances, the insult is that they weren't told. And then if you want to switch hats, you know, taking off my living in LA hat, just as a consumer, I don't like that I don't have the option, because there's no way theaters are going to hold on to these movies long enough that it's going to be safe. There's no way movie theaters will last without movies like this to play in them. I'm trying to shift gears into thinking that this is the end of movie theaters, because movie theaters have survived plenty. And I'm trying to work on my negative thinking just in general. In the woo-woo sense of the word, I'm trying to not have as many negative thoughts. So I'm no longer going to go on my soapbox about the death of movie theaters. I think they'll overcome. I think they'll find a way. That said, I think that there's something really special about seeing a movie opening night, and I think that's going to be less special if you have the access to it at home. I think people aren't going to get off the couch if they don't have to. And I think that if we don't have the theatrical window, there's going to be less and less of the event films. I think it's great Mandalorian is week to week, but how many people bitch about it not being bingeable? I think it's special because Watchmen, every Sunday Watchmen was a conversation. You marinated in it for a week. This is similar, where you're just like, okay, here it is, it's on. Guess I'll watch it. Like, there's something special about these event movies, and that goes away. And that really sucks. So I personally hate it. The next quote from Nolan was, "It is a unilateral decision that the studio took." Sorry, I said unilateral, weird. It's a unilateral decision the studio took. They didn't even tell the people involved. You have these great filmmakers who worked with passion and diligence for years on projects that are intended to be feature films with fantastic movie stars, and they've all now been told that they're a loss leader for a fledgling streaming service. I've never seen anybody so upset about one particular decision. It's not right, and it's not a good business decision. It's all a bit of a mess. I agree with everything I had to say. A lot of people, even in the industry, not even the industry, the people in the internet gossip space, complaining about like Nolan being out of touch and blah, blah, blah. He's not saying it's safe to go to the theater, you should. That's what he was saying with Tenet, and that was a mess. Like, I don't think that... I rented a theater for my birthday because it was an inexpensive way to see a movie with people that were COVID tested and safe. I was in a very unique position to be able to do that. It cost me $25 because 6 of us contributed to $150, and that was something that I could do. Not everyone has access to movie theaters that were being rented now. That's not an option. The theater I saw it at's totally closed. That was an hour and a half away. Every theater in LA is closed and has been since March. New York, same. Now that's not an option. I have literally no other way to see this. So as a consumer, I'm bothered because I want to see Soul, and I'm watching it on Christmas Day, Disney Plus, I guess. I want to see Wonder Woman, I'm watching it Christmas Day. And being a loss leader is exactly what this looks like. It looks like they're hemorrhaging money, and they're like, well, we can buoy it some with these pieces of art. It's like a ship is sinking, and you're throwing fucking Monets in the hole. Like, you're fucking shoving Da Vinci's notes into a fucking thing to keep your... It's gross. Art should be respected, art should be presented, art should be celebrated, art shouldn't just be dumped. And this feels like an entire year that's actually 2 years worth of content that's being dumped. And that 2 years represents untold years of ideas and concepts and art and all the evolution of what that represents. Like, there's that great Picasso quote, like Picasso's sitting in a bar and he's sketching and he's throwing them away and sketching and throwing them away, and a woman comes over and asks to buy one, and he's like, okay, I don't remember the number. For the sake of the story, let's say $10,000. $10,000, and she's like, but you just sketched this and it took you 30 seconds and you threw it out. And he's like, yeah, it took me 30 seconds, but it took me 40 years to draw that in 30 seconds. I'm paraphrasing horribly. It takes time to develop the art itself. All of these films, it doesn't just represent 2 years, it represents hundreds of years worth of hundreds of people's talents they're fucking throwing away. And it's gross, and I hate it. So I don't think this is appropriate. I don't think how they handled it went well. I do think they're going to be sued by a lot of people, and I don't know that a lot of people are going to want to work with this studio again. It's one of the biggest studios, and it's consistently one of the best. I love The Matrix. I love the Lethal Weapon films. I love the DC Universe. I love even the smaller films they make. Those are just the big ones because those ones are advertising. It sucks. So I'm bummed about it. Time will tell. That's just the beginning of the problems, though. So I mentioned lost leaders, and I mentioned basically it being a business decision to buoy a fledgling streaming service. But on top of that, there are now serious talks. One of the heads of HBO Max has been trying to get ads on HBO Max for years. So I know HBO Max is new, but HBO Go, HBO, etc. But now he's pushing even harder for ads on HBO Max. So even if you pay for HBO Max, they want to put in 4 minutes of ads per 60 minutes of screen time. So they can interrupt a fucking movie with ads. Like, do you want to watch Wonder Woman for the first time like it's on fucking TBS? Do you want to watch Dune and then suddenly have like a fucking Buffalo Wild Wings ad? It's insane. I don't want to, like, even the people that got press, I didn't see it yet. I haven't seen Dune, but press screeners, they were sent Dune and there was an ad in front of it. The press that got Dune early basically like sat through like a 3-minute ad, then watched Dune. Like movie trailers are one thing, movie commercials are one thing. That's all part of the experience. But in the middle of the movie to be interrupted, so I hate this. 4 minutes for every 60 means 2 ad breaks minimum for anything over an hour. You know, like if the movie's an hour and a half, they could make that, 2 sets of 60 minutes. Movies over 2 hours, it interrupts the flow. It's not what the filmmakers intended. Like, I want to see these movies. So ever more team buy physical media. Like, I don't know how the stance is going to be with the day and date release. Theatrical and HBO Max is one thing, but how long until they're available on physical release so I can watch that shit proper? How much are they going to spike the prices for HBO Max to have it be ad-free? Like, is what I'm paying the now ad price, and then there's going to be a premium that's more? And how much are they going to spike this shit when there's 2021 releases? Instead of doing the Mulan route and charging $30 for the movie on top of it, are they just going to charge way more for the service? Or are the ads going to be so problematic? Like, it's just fucked, man. And this is all to say that I really respect Warner Brothers, the studio, and I really liked them. And I still do. I think they make great art, and I think they care about their creators. I don't know who did this. I don't know what individuals. I'm not shitting on Warner Brothers. I'm not shitting on even HBO, because I don't know what cogs are turned. I'm shitting on this decision. Whoever made this decision, I have a problem with them. The group of them. Whoever okayed this is really, really detrimental to the art of movies. We'll see. Times are changing. There have to be hiccups. There can't all be good news. And it's 2020, so statistically, there's plenty of bad news, and then hopefully things get better. We're in a bad news rut. And this certainly, to me, is bad news. Plenty of people are happy. There's plenty of people celebrating. It actually, it reminds me a lot of the Fox Marvel Disney merger thing, when everyone was like, yeah, now the Thing and Wolverine can be with the X-Men. And I'm like, yeah, but millions of jobs are lost, and there's also a monopoly. It's similar. Like, I'm glad people are happy they get to watch Wonder Woman on Christmas. I'm not happy it's going to cost so much, not in dollars, in everything important. If something is free, it's taking something else out of you, guaranteed. Facebook is free, and it's taking all of your information and your fucking personality and selling it off. Twitter, anything that you don't pay for is costing you in another way. Sometimes you pay for it and it costs you. Sometimes that's just how capitalism has fucked you. But in this case, I think the cost of us getting these movies at home is going to be costly in a non-financial way and a financial way. But the non-financial way is what scares me. Time will tell. Fuck. I'm seeing a lot of comments about AT&T. I don't like particularly call anybody out, but I think I agree. This has all been a problem from that point onward, especially. It's affected comic books, it's affected publishers, it's affected, things I care about directly since the AT&T situation, so I'm not in love with them. I do still really care about Warner Brothers. I have a lot of friends over there, and I really care about the art that comes out of Warner Brothers, so I don't want to speak ill of them, but it is a fucking mess. All right, let's see if we got some good news to bounce back from, shall we? Yes, we've good news. Metal Gear Solid is gonna have Oscar fucking Isaac in it. I've been a proponent of video game cinema getting some credibility for a long time. I'm not much of a gamer, but I was. PS1, PS2, N64, Sega Genesis, NES, Nintendo was my shit. That's my era. Pre-PS3 is my shit. I skipped from PS2 to PS4, but I have a hard time keeping up with PS4, much less PS5, because I just missed about a decade. Metal Gear is my shit. I had Metal Gear on PS1. I had Metal Gear on PS2. I don't remember which games I had. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know I had Metal Gear Solid because I remember like the second controller controlling some mental aspect of the end of one of the boss fights was like, what? That's a thing? Like, it blew my mind. I remember like hiding under the cardboard boxes and the beep sound of the exclamation point. Formative, my childhood. All of that said, I've been very worried about a Metal Gear movie because it's so weird. Like, Hideo Kojima is a goddamn genius, but he's a fucking weird guy. Like, he makes weird choices in the espionage genre, and that's why these games are good. I'm terrified of a movie, like, you know, castrating that, like, nullifying the weird to make, like, an espionage movie. But now that we have Oscar Isaac in it, I assume the script is great. This is actually a role he lobbied for. There's a bunch of quotes of him saying he wanted to play Solid Snake. I'm very excited. I also hope this brings credibility to the genre in general. I wanted that for Michael Fassbender in Assassin's Creed. Didn't work out. I didn't love that movie. I think we've had some good video game movies. People say Sonic is great. I can't wait to see it. I missed it in theaters. There are the occasional glorious, but like I'd say the batting average is not great. I think there's like a 85-15 for good to bad video game movies. So I'm really excited for this one. I think he's a genius. I think that him playing this role and Moon Knight are going to appease his blockbuster sensibilities. I never thought we'd see him in another blockbuster, to be honest, after he was treating Star Wars the way he was. This is great news. So I'm so fucking stoked. I think he's going to be a perfect Solid Snake, and I'm all in on this casting. Not much to report beyond that, but fucking amped. My mom is in the chat saying she rediscovered my old video games last week. They are cleaning house, and that tracks. That makes sense. There's a lot in there. I miss that PS2 and earlier era of my free time when I had that. All right, over in the world of other things in development, Plastic Man is getting a movie, and it looks to be a female-led film. So this isn't confirmation that they're going to gender bend the character. It could be that. It could also be kind of like the Spawn movie that they've been talking about forever, where it's going to be, you know, the character that is Plastic Man isn't the lead. I can see there being, you know, a female-led cops or, you know, other characters in the script and Plastic Man's a supporting character or, you know, an alternate lead. Or you could go with a female Plastic Man, in which case, dude, I would love to see like a Kristen Stewart or an Aubrey Plaza in the role. To me, Plastic Man is like John Mulaney all day. So maybe someone from UCB that I don't know, cast an unknown, like talented as hell UCB actress. Natasha Leggero, I think it'd be fun. That's a very different take on Plastic Man. But I'm cool with this. I'm excited. A female-led Plastic Man has me in. I've been wanting a Plastic Man movie forever. The Wachowskis wrote a treatment for it, like in the mid to early 2000s, where I think Keanu was in talks because Wachowskis means Keanu to a lot of internet bloggers. It's been tossed around forever, and I think Plastic Man is a wicked fun character. I think this could be a really cool cinematic power set, and I really think that a different take on it will keep it interesting. I think DC's making a lot of bold moves. What I don't want is for this to languish in pre-production hell like the Batgirl movie seemingly has, and whatever happened to the Dark Justice League and all those movies that just like sat for a year or longer and just never manifested. So I'm hoping this one actually sees the light of day. Plastic Man is a character I like very much, a very weird character, and I think it'd be very good on screen. So give me that female-led Plastic Man movie. I'm in. All right, and then on the indie side of comic books, Mark Millar is expanding his Kingsman universe. The Kingsman movies, I think the first one is great. I think the second one is good. I haven't gotten to see the third one yet because, well, cinemas are closed. But I'm really excited for the newest Kingsman. That said, they're making 7 more Kingsman movies if all goes well. Obviously, if one of them tanks, they're going to stop. But they've got plans for 7 more Kingsman movies and a TV show. So that would bring us to 10 Kingsman, and that's some Fast and the Furious shit, and a show. Now, initially, a lot of people had backlash, like, why do we need that many? But if you think about it, this is a really cool open source Bond franchise. You can do flashbacks like this third movie. You can do the American Kingsman, like the Channing Tatum and Pedro Pascal characters from the second one. You can do international Kingsman. I mean, obviously it's international to us, it's a British character, but you can do more. You can go to Asia, you can go to other parts of the UK, you can go to Australia, you can have all sorts of different Kingsmen with these movies. So I can easily see them making a just modern Bond franchise that's just fun. Now, admittedly, I'm a Guy Ritchie, Matthew Vaughn fan. I love that style of filmmaking. I love how bombastic it is. I love that style of editing. That kinetic energy speaks to my brain. It speaks to how I think and move around through the world. Like the Aaron Sorkin dialogue and Matthew Vaughn fight scenes feel just nice. Like you cheer, you feel warm. It's good to me, to my brain. So I want as many Matthew Vaughn directed action movies as possible. I would also like more Guy Ritchie in his element, like The Gentleman, and obviously Snatch, Rock and Roll, etc. Lock, Stock, like the classics. But if you're going to make an extended universe, I think this is a great option. I think the Arthurian myths are untapped. I wanted the King Arthur Avengers that Guy Ritchie was trying to do. That King Arthur movie that I defend often with Charlie Hunnam that people hated that I loved was setting up basically Avengers, like an Arthur movie, a Lancelot movie. Like they assembled the Round Table, then like a big bombastic, insane Knights of the Round Table movie. That was the plan. As far as I know, I'm not Guy Ritchie. Spoiler alert. That said, since they can't do that, Kingsman has similar lore. You can have, Taron Egerton for a few movies, and then he can get killed and the name gets replaced. You can have, different countries, their Kingsman. This is a cool built-in legacy. So I personally see 7 movies in it. It's funny. I'm not cynical about this. I'm not cynical about Metal Gear. I'm not cynical even about the Doc Ock thing, because I think it's worth it to have a really big crazy movie since we're going that direction, then go smaller later. The only thing I'm cynical about is the HBO Max deal. So I feel like I was on that for a while because I'm just so bummed. But a lot of people are bummed about this, and I'm not. I think this is exciting. Give me 7 of these. I don't give a fuck. As long as they stay good, I'll see them. As long as they keep some integrity like the first one had, I'm in. So give me 7 Kingsmen. Fuck it. All right. In the world of streaming, Redbox. Remember Redbox? You put like $2 in, DVD, $2.50, $3. Blu-ray, usually outside of a grocery store. Redbox. Big thing, like 4 years ago. They are kicking off a streaming service. This is smart to stick with the times. I didn't know the company was still around. When Blockbuster was going under, Redbox got really, really popular, and I didn't think of them for quite some time. MoviePass, I also think, kind of took them out when MoviePass was big. I think I joined MoviePass a bit earlier than the groundswell, and then it immediately started tanking. But I had MoviePass for about 4 years total, and I think it lasted like 4.5. But I think Redbox was also affected by the MoviePass movement, so I didn't know they were still around. Redbox is looking to start a streaming service, and it's going to be free but ad-based. So I think it's more like Crackle and a bunch of the smaller ones. They're going to kick off with movies like, I think they mentioned Lord of War and like that era of cinema. So fun stuff if you've never seen it, and it'll be nice to have like a free one. And good for Redbox. We'll see what happens with it. Just got announced. We'll see. Over in the world of Kate Bishop news, right after we talked about Yelena Belova being in Hawkeye and the awesomeness of Hailee Steinfeld is just awesome. I'm a huge fan of Hailee Steinfeld. I think she's going to be a great Hawkeye. I think she's got the humor. I think she has the physicality. And most of all, I think she's talented as fuck. I think she's like a very capable actress. She kept up with Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon in True Grit when she was a child. I think she's going to do a great job as Kate Bishop. I also want more characters like Kate Bishop. This new wave of Marvel, I want to see them on screen. I think it's going to lead to, Young Avengers, and I think Kate Bishop's going to be a huge part of that. I think Kate Bishop as a character out of LA is so much fun. I love the comic books. I think Kate Bishop's Hawkeye was an incredible run that had a really unique flavor. So give me some West Coast shit. Give me a West Coast Avengers and a Young Avengers with Kate Bishop. So yeah, Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop is confirmed. A bunch of photos leaked of her on set with Lucky the dog and Jeremy Renner, who now appears to be deaf, which is following Matt Fraction's storyline. All of this is great news, but we also have in Kate Bishop news, she is officially on the Marvel's Avengers game. I am still a fan of Marvel's The Avengers. I'm at 56 or 57%. I slowed down because I got really busy, but I am playing the hell out of Avengers whenever I get on it. I'm on it for like 3 or 4 hours. I think it's a really fun game. I know it's got bugs. I don't game enough to really notice, I guess. It's a fun time, and I think the story's great, and I haven't beaten it yet, so it doesn't seem short. I'm really having fun with it, and now I got a new character in Kate Bishop, Hell yeah. I think it's going to expand the world. I think it's going to give us a more... a lot of the characters are brawlers. I think it's going to give us that Legolas thing where we've got a more distant, long gameplay. I think that can add a lot to replayability. I think it's just good. So give me that Kate Bishop on Marvel's Avengers. I'm still cheerleading it. I see someone in the chat, Ian Roth, saying, Square Enix, sponsor this man. Square Enix, sponsor this man. Also, Insomnia, send me a PS5. You put my cat in the game. I didn't get anything. At least give me a PS5. I'm not suing. I just want hot toys, PS5 with my cat. Maybe some merch, some Spidey Cat shirts. It's not asking a lot. You put my cat in the game. So yeah, Marvel's Avengers with Kate Bishop. Give me that. I'm excited. Hailee Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. Give me that. I'm excited. Spidey Cat in a video game. Give me that. I'm excited. All right, over to... Guys, I don't really talk about... Star Wars a lot because I fear the fandom. I gotta say just positive things about The Mandalorian. I'm not gonna give anything away. I'm not gonna be spoilers. I just want to say that the last 3 episodes, all of them, the last 14 episodes of The Mandalorian have been so much better than Star Wars movies to me. And I have respect for Star Wars movies. I get it. They're very special. They're very fucking important. They mean a lot to a lot of people. But this fucking show, man, I love the different directors per episode, so it has different flavor. I love how much I care about the characters. I love that it feels like a goddamn space western. I love the child. I won't say his name in case you haven't seen it. I love, she's there. They've talked about it all over the place. Osaka, she's awesome. This last episode in one frame got me fully at an 11 of excitement because my favorite Star Wars character's coming back. You guys know who it is. I'm from Boston. It's very shameless, my bias. Since I'm not a ride or die in the fandom, it's fun for me to be a surface fan, so I can say things like my favorite Star Wars character, and it's not offended to me. He's a supporting character that's a tiny character, but he's awesome. So yeah, he's back in the next 2 episodes, I assume. I am all about The Mandalorian, and I just want to thank everyone involved. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, you got me back to being a Star Wars guy. Not a zealot like I am with comic books, but I can say I'm a Star Wars guy again, and that feels very, very good. Robert Rodriguez, this last episode was everything I wanted the character of. I feel like I can say this. If you're on the internet, if you're watching this, you know there's a character that popped up. You guys did in 30 seconds what the movies could not do for Boba Fett. Boba Fett was a character that was cool in quotes, but we never saw it. I never knew why he was so cool. His costume was cool, but he made a lot of dumb decisions. And now I get it. You, in one action sequence, and I got a few, showed me Boba Fett's bitchin', so thank you. And yes, to the chat, correct. There is a character that is being referenced by you that is my favorite, and it is Chili, and his first name is $1 blank, and his last name is Cold, and he's back, and I'm very fucking excited. So yeah, Mandalorian's great, just wanted to give it some love. Once again, Star Wars is not usually my cup of tea because it's such a rich and deep fandom that I feel like I'm getting a lot out of the show, but I know some lines of dialogue mean so much more to other people, and it's really kind of fun to be a surface fan for this one. It's kind of fun to be like, oh, there was some extra weight in that dialogue that I don't understand, and it kind of feels nice to not research it. So I think The Mandalorian is perfectly approachable for fans and diehards alike. I think it's very approachable for newbies even, and I think it's I think it is what Star Wars was intended to be in the original trilogy before it got really popular. And I think the fun of Star Wars is back in such a great way. So give me that Mandalorian. I would love if the universe can expand out like this. I would love if Star Wars can become pockets of non-Skywalkers. I want more than just that one family. And I'd love if we explored different corners of the universe because it's a galaxy far, far away. I'd like to see much, much more of it. So very much in for more Mandalorian. I also hope we get a Space Boston spinoff with the character I love and Baby Yoda as buddy cops. And I would like one of them to be much too young for this shit, the Baby Yoda. And since the character I love, you know what, I'm just going to say it. Miggs is awesome, and his name is Riggs. It's effectively Riggs. You gave me Lethal Weapon. Now give me Lethal Weapon in space. Give me the spinoff we all demand, buddy cop, Baby Yoda, Bill Burr, Space Boston, make it happen, headcanon, let's dance. I want that shit. It's never going to happen. That's not the spinoffs they're going to do. They're going to do an Osaka spinoff. They're going to do a Boba Fett spinoff. They're not going to give me my Space Boston. But up here, Space Boston is everything. Because you got the fucking Death Star kid, and you got, whatever you need. I'm going to jump in the Streamlab, because I've got a very giant notification coming at me. And I want to give some love to, I believe it's Smack Talk. It's hard to see through all the text. It is! All right. Let's see. Oh, we got it. Okay. Sahil, love the artwork. Also, Streamlabs is being weird. I'm not sure if it's on my end or theirs. It seemed to work. I'm sorry you had to fight it. I appreciate you very much. So, dude, check this out. I don't know if you've seen the last couple episodes. I ordered more as a Christmas gift to myself. I already had a bunch of Displates that I spent my birthday money on, and then I spent my Christmas. I love art, and these are on magnets so I can rotate them out. But check it out. We got DJ Monkey putting in the work in the ones and twos. I love this art because I don't get to talk about music nearly enough, and music is a huge part of my life. And I'm a big fan of DJ Monkey. And since it's metal, I can just take it off and on. This is the great Alex Ross and the Rogues Gallery, arguably the greatest Rogues Gallery of all time, Batman's Rogues Gallery. It's just a beautiful piece. And the detail's crazy on these things because it's printed on metal, but the detail's nuts. Also, Displate, sponsor me. I talk about you all the time. Send me some Displates. And then we gotta shift that back down. The great Hunter S. Thompson. This is the first 55,000 words of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas to shape Mr. Hunter S. Thompson. This is, of course, Alex Malave drawing The Man Without Fear, but look at Hell's Kitchen. Look at those pencils. Look at those lines. Boom. Such a fan. And then, finally, we got... I love How to Train Your Dragon. I think it's the best trilogy I think it's the most slept on trilogy. I think it's truly one of the greatest trilogies in the history of cinema, and I wanted to represent it on this right here. So, these are my first set of Displates. I ordered a few more for myself for Christmas. That said, I have added a Displate Patreon tier. So what I was thinking was, I want a ton of these. I've literally got 74 of them in my wish list on Displate. So my Displate tier would be, basically, these are $45. They go on sale often. I joined as a member, so I get free shipping now. I pay $15 a month. I get free shipping, and I get some discounts. So for the Patreon tier, if you guys wanted to sponsor a Displate, basically I would unbox it and then talk about the art and what it means to me, and also answer 2 or 3 of your questions. So if you go to my Patreon, look for the Displate tier, $35, and I will answer 2 or 3 questions that are like long form, and I'll make a whole video about it while I'm unboxing the Displate, and then say I got like a 10 Things I Hate About You Displate. I talk about what that movie means to me. I got Furiosa Displate. I talk about what that character means to me. I got a Guinness Displate. I talk about what that beer means to me. So it would be about the Displate itself, but also you could answer, it is very crooked. You could also, I could also answer 2 or 3 questions that are more long form that I wouldn't be able to answer in a Instagram video or as part of the show. Mom, I'm gonna readjust them, I promise. But thank you for pointing that out. Magnets, guys. Magnets. How do they work? So yes, this is my art wall of glory, and worry not, Deadpool is still killing it in the corner with my Dark Knight Mondo piece. But for now, I wanted to give some love to the Displates. So that was a tangent sponsored by Sahil, who had me go off my art, because yes, I appreciate you digging it, man. I'm a huge fan, and I'm glad we got the Streamlabs working. All right, I've been talking for 45 minutes. Sip of water real quick. Okay. Again, thank you for the love, and thank you for the art love. All right, news. We talked about Mando. We talked about Hailee Steinfeld. We talked about all the HBO Max stuff. We talked about Doc Ock. All of that was at the top of the show. If y'all missed it, I will put out some timestamps after this. But let's do some comic recommendations. Guys, this last week of comics, the 2nd of December, if you guys are comic book fans, there was some of the best comics of the year released last week. I rarely give out A+. I rarely give out A's. I have a ton of A's that were given last week. People with OCD are chiming in and saying they have OCD in the chat, and I'm causing them much strife. Would it be better if I just made it worse? So there was no rhyme or reason? I'm not trolling. I just don't know if that makes it better or worse. Magnets. Chaos. So much. All right. My favorites from last week, the week of December 2nd, were Batman 104, very solid book. Batman Catwoman, #1. Now, I am a giant Tom King Batman fan, so much so that people get mad at me. I'm a Batman fan in general, and I'm a Tom King fan in general. That said, I've been waiting for Batcat for a year, and somehow it did not disappoint. Clayman's art is some of the prettiest I have ever seen in a comic book. It is so cinematic, the detail is stunning, the characterization on their faces is beautiful, the book is so fucking movie-like. I love Batcat #1. It's an A+. It's a near perfect comic. This is a 12-issue run. It's not a 6-issue miniseries like I thought it was. It's a 12. I am losing my goddamn mind. This first issue has me so amped. It was an A+. Highly recommend it. If you've never read a Batman book, it'll make sense. If you have, you'll love it even more. If you want to see what gorgeous art Clayman does, just pick up this book. 12-issue miniseries. You're going to love it. Batcat #1. And then tell Tom and Clay I sent you. Because I want some art of Clayman's, and I don't know how to get it. So I want them to know I'm pimping their book. All right. That's not the only reason I'm pimping it, though. I'm not pimping it for my selfishness. I'm pimping it because it's that good. And because I'm selfish, I want some art. Next up, we got Black Widow #4, another stunning book. The art in Black Widow is some of the most sequentially exciting I've ever seen. The way the book moves, the way the art direction is, and the actual characterization is stunning too. Black Widow #4. I talked about Black Widow on my most recent episode of Comic Book Shopping with Blue Hunt, because comic book shopping is back. If you guys want to check out some of the interiors, it is over on Collider. But I also feature Black Widow over there. So check out Black Widow #4, came out last week, and it's a fantastic read. Champions #3, pretty solid. Daredevil #25, Chip Zdarsky Daredevil. As you guys know, for years I've been yelling about how good Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil is. The big old 25 issue, a new person wields Daredevil's cowl, and Matt Murdock as Daredevil is in prison. So someone else has to take up the mantle on the streets, and it's a fucking awesome time. The book's very good. To have an event book following the insanity of the multiple events that he's led up to reach the climax it needs to is rare, and this one does. 25, excellent, excellent read. It's also a great jumping on point. All right, Fantastic Four Road Trip #1. It's literally a one-off. This is a one-shot Fantastic Four. I usually have a hard time with Fantastic Four books. This is a great one-shot. It's very body horror heavy. It's a lot of fun. Far Sector #9, Space Cops. Firepower #6. My favorite new ongoing series of the year is probably Firepower. Crossover's catching up, but there's only one issue of Crossover, so it's not fair yet. But Firepower #6, written by Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame, drawn by Chris Samney. Genius book, so much fun. Martial arts meets Mr. Mom. King in Black #1, Donny Cates' big old event is finally here, and it's metal as fuck in its first issue. So dive into King in Black while it's available. MODOK Head Games. I mean, guys, it's got a pun in the title. It's written by Patton Oswalt. It's a damn good time. It's wicked funny. Check out the MODOK Head Games if you want some comedy books. Strange Adventures #7. I've talked about this a lot too. It's another Tom King book. Doc Shaner and Mitch Drods on art. It is after a month-long hiatus, we are back to more Strange Adventures, and this issue is brutal and emotional and awesome. Thor #10. Guys, Donny Cates on Thor is damn good. The second issue of a new story arc. This one is a very emotionally jarring and action-packed issue, which is everything you want out of comics. So Thor #10. Again, tons of A's last week. The comic books I recommend for this week, the ones coming out tomorrow, December 9th, are Amazing Spider-Man, I skipped ahead. Adventure Man hardcover #1. I really dug the first arc of Adventure Man. Now it's being collected in a hardcover available tomorrow. It's a new indie from Image that is drawn by the Dodsons and written by Fraction, and it's really dope. It's got like a Rocketeer flavor. Amazing Spider-Man 54, continuing on the craziness of the Spencer run. American Vampire 1976 #3, Avengers 39, Batman Black and White #1. Very excited for this book. A new Black and White Batman title. Captain Marvel 24, Crossover #2. Can it live up to the insane first issue? We'll find out, because I'm a big, big fan of Donny Cates, and I want to see where this title goes. Crossover #2, probably my pull of the week. Detective Comics 1032, Guardians of the Galaxy 9, Heroes at Home #1. They've been doing these little mini skits of basically what superheroes do at home on quarantine. They collected them all. Number 1 drops tomorrow. Homesick Pilots. I don't know what this book's about. I know a new Image title is going to have my interest. A brand new Image number 1. I'm going to see what it is. Homesick Pilots number 1. Juggernaut number 4. One of my big surprises of the year. A very fun Juggernaut book. Illustrations by Ron Garney. Gorgeous. Kill Lock trade paperback. Joe Starr, friend of the show, friend of the me, Screen Junkie, a buddy of his, wrote and drew this entire series, and he was like, dude, check out Kill Lock. And I was like, holy fuck. It's what I wanted Transformers to be my whole life. It's an IDW book who publishes Transformers, and it's got so much humanity in these robots that you forget you're reading about machines. It's so heartfelt and badass. I love this title, and it collects them all. So that trade paperback is available tomorrow. That is called Kill Lock. King in Black Namor comes out tomorrow. Marauders 16, 7 Secrets number 5. If you guys aren't reading 7 Secrets, you're missing out. Spider-Man number 5, concluding the J.J. Abrams, Henry Abrams run. Strange Academy number 6, basically a magic school. Instead of Xavier School for Gifted Mutants, it's a Doc Strange and Magic, with a K, run school for magic. And then we've got Sword number 1, basically S.H.I.E.L.D.'s counterpart, has a new series. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin number 1. Enough of you guys were so loud and so mad at me for missing this book that I'm going to get the second printing, which drops tomorrow. I did not read The Last Ronin yet. I'm going to pick it up. There's a second printing tomorrow. I have a lot of you that want to know what I thought of it. I'm picking it up. Venom 31, Donny Cates on Venom, damn good time. And Wonder Woman 768 are the comic books that I'm excited about tomorrow. Over in the world of streaming, it's the middle of the month. Usually the streaming recs are, the beginning of the month, the end of the month, when they put out new content. But there's a few things that are coming out this week. Over on Netflix, we've got The Professor and the Madman on the 15th. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a huge fan of language. I love words. I love what they can be. I love what they are. And I love the possibility that they can grow into something greater. I also really, 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 really love... I love the concept of what language represents, and that's a longer conversation, but I love what communication can be. Like, the internet's a mistake in a lot of ways, but one of the things it is a great communication tool when used well. Anyway, The Professor and the Madman is the invention of the dictionary, and I never thought of that. Like, how do you invent something that's describing something? How do you describe a word by inventing it and vice versa? Like, what's the process of putting together a language that doesn't exist yet? The dictionary didn't exist at some point, and I just never thought of that, obviously. But it's a movie starring Sean Penn and Mel Gibson, having a great beard off and a great crazy eyes off, and they're both incredible actors, regardless of what they do in their regular lives. And man, oh man, I mean, Sean Penn did save Los Angeles with the coreresponse.org. That dude's fucking nonprofit literally saved millions of lives. That said, it's a bit of a monster as well as Mel Gibson. Tomato. Anyway, all of that, irregardless. The Professor and the Madman was one of my top 10 movies of 2018, and no one saw it. I saw it on a plane, and it still made my top 10. It's fucking mine, and Disney Plus gets Eddie the Eagle, which is a brilliant Taron Egerton and Hugh Jackman joint, so I'm excited. Uh-oh, I hear I froze. Will I come back? Who knows? Uh-oh. We'll see, you guys. I was almost done. I'm back? Okay, we're back. I don't know where I left off, but I gave some movie recommendations. Did you hear me say the Netflix recommendations, or did I lose you for all of it? Let me know what the last thing you heard was, and I'll wrap up quickly, because this is the wrap-up part of the show. Okay. You guys have heard me to the point where you're saying you're back, so that's good. We got to that point. Oh, Mel Gibson. Okay, so the last one you heard me talk about was The Professor and the Madman. So, Professor and the Madman was one of my favorite movies of 2018. I saw it on a plane. It's rare that a movie I saw on a plane makes my fucking top 10. It is so good, and that is coming on the 15th. Please watch it. It's genius. It's incredibly acted. Crazy beards, crazy eyes, crazy actors, crazy good story. Excellent film. Check it out. And then I also recommended Nocturnal Animals on the 16th, a powerful Jake Gyllenhaal performance, not for the faint of heart, very good movie, but very intense. And then the final performance of Mr. Chadwick Boseman is in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and that drops on the 18th. It is a jazz film. Viola Davis is also in it, but it's the last performance of Chadwick Boseman, and I hear it's an incredible one, so I'm very excited to see what Chadwick does with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which comes out on the 18th. And then we've got on Hulu on the 12th, Endless comes out, directed by two buddies of mine. And then Eddie the Eagle on Disney Plus. And Eddie the Eagle is a fantastic sports movie with Taron Egerton and Mr. Hugh Jackman. So those are the streaming picks for this week. Just this week, I tried to do it a week at a time. Obviously, next week, we'll be talking about Wonder Woman and Soul coming out on the 25th, because holy shit, we're approaching the middle of December. This has been a old school hour-long episode. Did not expect to go an hour, but you guys kept piling in. This is the most viewers we've had in a little while, so apparently this was good. We should do more hour-long shows. You guys are the best. I appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you to Smack Talk for the Streamlab. Thank you to all of you folks in the live chat. I'm at 56 minutes. Let's see. I'll do 2 minutes of live chat so we don't go over the hour. Because if we go over the hour, I get pinged in the algorithm, and then YouTube just buries my shit. All right, let's see. Apparently I froze real good. That's nice. That's good news. Moromuth Haunt said, I'm drinking bacon and eggs from Port Brewing. It's a limited release, but I think I can find it in LA. I actually saw that at Trader Joe's the other day. I'm planning on picking it up next time I have some beers. It's hard trying to cut weight and also loving beer. You guys just saw the insanity of the dirtiness of my computer. Spidey likes to crawl on it, so it's covered in paw prints. Apologize for the dirtiness of the top of my laptop there. All right. People talking about art. We're scrolling back. Baby Yoda, general hype. No questions yet. People love going to the movies. People are on my side with this chaos. Okay, good. As far back as I can go. I looked. You guys are the best. I appreciate you. Let's see. Coy, I got 4 or 5 episodes left of The Shield. Have I seen it, or do I have thoughts? I haven't seen it. I think it's got Lowell's own, the bald guy, a guy from my hometown. I have not seen it, though, and so I have no thoughts other than he's great. Sorry, I don't have more information there. I'm generally more of a movie guy than TV. I've been more TV in quarantine because obviously they haven't been releasing movies. But I generally lean towards cinema because it's 2 hours. You know, it's like I can be done. I don't usually have the time to watch full shows. That said, Kingdom is changing my life, and I'm so glad I made time for it. And Kingdom is one of the most important shows I think ever, and it's one of the best shows ever, and I love how it addresses the masculine psyche without judging it or excusing it, and it's helped me a lot with my own shit, and it's also a show about fighting, and I think martial arts are very important, and I think more people should watch Kingdom on Netflix. So I took your question and I turned it into a plug, and I hope that's okay. Watch Kingdom on Netflix immediately. 2 of the greatest actors working, Jonathan Tucker and Frank Grillo. I've never felt more seen than Jake Molina, and that scares the fuck out of me because he's a crazy person. But Jake Molina, the character resonates. Spidey, no yelling. Okay, that's my cue. I gotta go. My cat's mad. All right. I appreciate y'all. We will see you latest next Tuesday, but I'm also going to be dropping a review for AJ Lancaster. I watched Anna and the Apocalypse. Expect that very, very soon, as soon as maybe tomorrow or the next day. Also expect a watch-along next week, maybe something Christmassy, doing that for Michael McCarcel. And what else is coming? And I'm doing a John Getz review very soon. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming, all right? Let's see. Frank Grillo appears in the show for about 8 episodes. He's in every episode. What are you talking about? Oh, is he in The Shield? Oh, that's cool. I was like, he's like one of the leads of Kingdom, which is precious. Michael Chiklis. Yes. Okay, Michael Chiklis, yes, of Lowell. Thank you. That name was going to drive me crazy. Anyway, Frank Grillo, great on Kingdom. Jonathan Tucker, great on Kingdom. Kingdom, great on Kingdom. Nick Jonas, great on Kingdom. All right, I'm just ranting at this point. Good night, Koi Pond. We'll see you soon.